Change. It happens in real estate, it happens in life, it happens in business. It is just a part of life. And currently, the real estate market is going through change, transition. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the market trends and give you a little bit of perspective as we move through June of 2022. Hey, Laura Gallen here with Mountain Prairie Living, empowered by ERI Shields, and welcome to my channel where I answer questions about the home buying and selling process, all the information about the market, the transitions that are occurring, cool neighborhoods to look at if you're moving to Colorado Springs, and all the amazing things there are to do here in Colorado Springs. So if you'd like to reach out to me for any reason, then my contact information is just below. Thanks so much for being here. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the market trends and a little bit of perspective. It is June of 2022. We're going to begin to see appreciation slow down over the next few months. So it will still move forward and appreciate, but it's going to slow down. The historic interest rates that we just experienced were put in place to help us transition through a global pandemic where the entire world shut down, and they were trying to stimulate the economy. We've never seen interest rates that low. It is something that's not supportable because the appreciation rates that we experienced in 2021 and 2020 even were just abnormal, 15, 16, 18, 20%, depending on the market you're in, are not sustainable nor healthy appreciation rates. And in fact, it wouldn't be sustainable simply because income did not appreciate at the same rate. In the last 20 years in El Paso County, the average appreciation rate over 20 years has been 5.5%, and that is a healthy appreciation rate. So moving back into that realm is really what we're going to see. Is it going to happen in the first year, in this year? No, I think we're going to appreciate about 8 to 10% in the El Paso County market. I think next year it'll be between 6 and 8% potentially, and the third year we may come into a more stabilized area of maybe 5 to 6% appreciation year over year. And that's a healthy place to be. So let's talk about what a balanced market is. I talked about this in Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, I do a Tuesday and a Friday quick tip and a quick market stat update. So check out my Instagram over on Mountain Prairie Living. But we were talking about what is a balanced market and what is a buyer's market. So a balanced market is defined as 4 to 6 months of inventory, meaning if nothing else came on the market from today on, we have 4 to 6 months of inventory. In 4 to 6 months, all of that inventory would be sold. A buyer's market is defined as more than 6 months of inventory. We are still in a seller's market. We have about 2 weeks of inventory. Yes, the inventory is beginning to creep up, and we'll talk about market trends a little bit later, but even with that creep up, we're about 2 weeks of inventory, meaning if nothing else came on the market in 2 weeks, all the inventory would be sold. So don't confuse this transitional period as it quickly shifting into a balanced or a buyer's market. It is still a seller's market, which is going to speak to the appreciation rates that I predicted just a moment ago. To date sold, still hitting records. We are year to date in May of 2022, 6,607 total sales. So that's huge. It's still obviously showing that the market is moving. In El Paso County, we still saw over asking being the average. 102.8% of asking is what the average sold price was. And the condo townhouse market, it was 103.2% over asking in the month of May. That's probably going to shift in the next few months. So I think in the next few months, we're going to see more of asking price, or maybe just below asking price. Maybe 2 to 3 months ahead, we're going to start to see that shift. And that's going to be a more balanced market. So let's talk about perspective. It's such an important piece as you go through change to kind of help yourself get through that change, perspective, and understanding how to look at a situation in a couple different ways. So let's talk about appreciation rate. If you've owned your home from 3 to 5 years or more, you have seen the appreciation over the last crazy few years of this market. That is yours. It's not going away. We may have a market correction, but it's going to be very minor. Those appreciation rates will be there for you when you go on the market. But what you may not see if you're going to go on the market from today on is that craziness that we saw last summer all the way through this spring. So keep that in mind, that you will have that appreciation over the last few years. You just might not get that extra little bit that you hoped on the very end. So in the realm of perspective, it's really important to understand, why did this happen? What was going on? What was this craziness, and why is it not sustaining? Well, the reality is, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, we had a global pandemic that shut the world down. Supply chains became a problem. Companies had to close. Businesses shifted and changed. The way we did business shifted and changed. And the economy was slowed and completely stopped in some areas of the markets. So to stimulate the market, they dropped the interest rates incredibly low, which opened up the buyer pool and increased buyer demand throughout the entire United States. So that's one part of this. We had a huge demand issue, and we were not prepared because we were already behind on housing inventory. Then you add to that the stock market wasn't doing so well. So many people took their money out of the stock market to put it into real estate because that made a better investment and a better return on their money with the appreciation rates that we saw. So we had a lot of money shift out of stocks and move into real estate, which increased the buyer demand, which is what led to part of the frenzy. So it's really important to kind of understand that. Will we continue to see investors in the market because they are still moving it out of stock for the moment? Yes, we will still see a little bit of that. And that's probably why I predict we'll see 8 to 10% equity or appreciation over this next year, because we're still seeing some of that activity, moving their money into real estate because it's still a solid place to put your investment. So that's part of what happened. And then of course the whole screw up with the supply chain really messed with the new builds and the builders trying to build a product fast enough to get it on the market, but then the rate and the cost of that build increased so much, and so did the price point. And for some of the buyers, that changed how much they could buy. And we didn't really have as much of the first-time home buyer homes being built. So it really shifted things all around. It screwed up the supply chain, it increased the buyer demand, and we were already behind on inventory. And then the whole shift of money coming out of the stock market into real estate. That's what happened. Is it changing? Yes, it's got to change, right? Because income for our population did not rise at the same rate that the homes were appreciating and the prices were increasing. So we need to come back into a healthier, balanced market. And that's what we're going to begin to see in this transition. What are we seeing? Bidding wars? They're nearly gone. They are still happening on the cream puffs though. So the ones that look superior are still getting multiple offers, but more like 2 to 5 multiple offers, not like 20 to 30 like we saw in the summer, fall, and spring of this year. So that's definitely happening. Inventory is creeping up. Sunday morning, I checked the inventory. It was at 1,397 total listings. We have not seen a number that high in almost 2 years. In fact, literally 3 weeks before, the max I hit was about 700 and something. So we nearly doubled that in a few weeks of inventory because of the slowdown. So it's the highest we've seen in the last 2 years. Buyers got a little bit more to choose from now. So we're beginning to see price reductions. And we had 57 price reductions on Friday going into this house hunting weekend. Not all of it was builders. Many of it was people who were hoping that the market was still moving above, or they were using comparables from the last 6 months, where I think in this transitional market, we're going to need to use comparables that are within 2 weeks to a month as we move through this transition. But we're beginning to see quite a bit of price reductions, which is more of what I would consider a market correction. Homes are sitting on the market between 1 to 3 weeks or more. And to be honest, that's a healthy market. But if you are a seller coming into the market right in this transition, you're freaking out going, well, just 3 weeks ago, homes were selling within 3 days. They were gone and under contract, and yours is still sitting there. That's part of the interest rate increasing, the inventory increasing, and the buyers having choices and making a different decision based on the price of their monthly payment because of the increased interest rates. So we're definitely seeing that homes are sitting a little bit longer on the market, but more in a healthy range of 1 to 3 weeks. Buyer demand decreased. Why did it decrease? Because the interest rates rose. It not only knocked some people completely out of the market, but those that are in the market, it shifted their price point down. So it definitely affected the market as the interest rates rose so quickly. Are they going to rise again this year? Yep, we expect at least 2 more, probably 1 in July and maybe in the fall. So if you're out there house hunting and you do go under contract, see what you can do to lock that rate so you know exactly what your house payment's going to be. Now this one we just began to see in the last few weeks. Builders are dropping their price points. They're also offering more incentives to both the buyer and the realtor to bring people into the home. So they're having to make a market correction also. I have a person under contract with a builder here. They just gave them a $51,000 reduction on their contract price. So they just saved $51,000. Kudos to my buyers. So we are seeing that market correction with the builders also. It's critical that you get the pricing right. Now, if timing is an issue and you need to PCS out or move for work, you really want to get this one right. If you overprice, you're going to put yourself in a vulnerable area because you're going to have to shift down that price at some point to get it moving. And when you do that, that means you've given the buyer a little bit more negotiation power. Because if you sat there for a while and then you drop the price, they're going to swoop in and assume that they can maybe negotiate that price a little bit more. So getting that pricing right and maybe a little bit lower than you were thinking and hoping it will maybe buy up, that might be a way of strategizing this market as we transition through. So I hope this information on the market trends, the current market stats, and the perspective of this market helps you as you move through this market. If you're moving to Colorado Springs and you're checking out this video, kudos to you, you're so smart. So it's really good to kind of check out a market that you're moving into. If you're about to put your house on the market here in Colorado Springs, learning the market and understanding the market as you approach it is so important. So I'm so glad you took the time to watch the video. I'm so glad you were here. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Give this one a thumbs up and make any comments below about your thoughts on this current market. Have you had any challenges? Did you just list your home? Is it still sitting there? What are your thoughts and feelings as we transition into what is considered a normal market? So homes on the market between 1 to 3 weeks or more, and at asking price, and probably an appreciation rate of about 5 to 6%. So that's what's coming. We're moving back into the normal range. Thanks so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Have a wonderful day. And if you want to reach out to me, my contact information is linked below. Thanks so much for watching. And if you'd like to know more about really cool neighborhoods that have huge garages, then check out this video next.